Okay, Be'ezrat Hashem. So now we're going to start the Seder Hayom. And the Seder Hayom, if you open any Siddur, okay, obviously, except for the Brachot, we have the Tikkun Chatzot and the Inyan to learn Torah at night. Okay, so here the Heikhal HaKodesh will bring the Ma'alot of learning the לימוד התורה בתוך הלילה. אוקיי. So בטוב מנעים שיקבע האדם עד בלילה לעסוק בתורה, מוסף הקביעות שתהיה לו ביום. Not only that you have to have your set time where you learn Torah during the day, yeah, but there is also an obligation in the Torah, an obligation of the Torah, like we say in the Kriyat Shema, to also learn Torah at night. That's why we say the Kriyat Shema at night, right? To check the box of learning Torah at night. But the learning of the Torah at night is it's a very special time. It's a very special Torah that is very important to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We're going to see why. And that's how you start your day. You start your day by waking up in the middle of the night, essentially after the Chatzot HaLaila, after midnight, right? The middle of the night, because the first portion of the night is judgment. The second portion of the night is Rahamim. Although night in general, right, is Din, right? You have Din Sheba Dinim, which is the first portion of the night, and then you have Rahamim Sheba Dinim, the Mituka Dinim, right? The appeasement of the Dinim, which is from Chatzot Laila all the way until Alot HaShachar. And that time, the appeasement of the dinim is HaKadosh Baruch Hu's way of calming down, of appeasing, of applying what the Midrash says. The Midrash says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu livro et ha'olam. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to create the world, Bedin, so that it doesn't work. Tziref, okay? He added Midat HaRachamim. Tziref lo Midat HaRachamim. He added Midat HaRachamim. So the addition of the Midat HaRachamim into the dinim is from Chatzot Laila, right? From the middle of the night, to until Alot HaShachar.
That's why we can't say Tehillim at night until after Chatzot.
Until Chatzot, exactly. Only Tehillim, also Chumash, right? Torah Shebechtav also we don't say, right? Why? Because we don't want to give to the Klipo, to the Midat Hadin, to the Mekat Regim, we don't want to give them, the power, the power, right? Now, that's also the reason why women also don't say Tikkun Chatzot.
Okay.
Right? When you look at Tikkun Chatzot, the Tikkun Chatzot is what Tikkun Rachel and Tikkun Leah, right? What is Tikkun Rachel and Tikkun Leah? We do the Tikkun of the Shekhinah. The Shekhinah is called Rachel and the Shekhinah is called Leah, two facets, right? So the Achor, the back of the Malchut of the Shekhinah, which is Midat Hadin, is Leah. The front is Rachel, right? And that's, by the way, that's why Rachel is called Rachel and Leah is called Leah. It's the Sodot of the fate of the dimension that is called Rachel in the Malchut, and that is called Leah in the Malchut, right? For that specific reason that we're called Rachel and Leah.
Rachel is the front and Leah is the back.
That's right. And now we would think that the Tikkun Chatzot should be done also by women, since the woman represents the Shekhinah, she represents the Malchut, right? But no, we don't. Why? Because it's a judgment, and we cannot have judgment on judgment. So the woman, the woman can do anything. Like the Ben Ish Chai says, I think his mother, his grandmother, would wake up before Alot HaShachar. She would do the Seder HaMishnayot. She would learn 18 chapters of Mishnayot. It's brought in Od Yosef Chai, Parashat Vayishlach, on the inyan of the whether or not women should be saying Tikkun Chatzot at night or any type of prayers at night like men do. That's that's the second question. Anyway, but so going back to to the Tikkun Hatzot, זה דבר חשוב מאוד. Right? And the Limud Torah also. So why? Because it's the time where HaKadosh Baruch Hu basically appeases the dinim. So because he appeases the dinim, right? So we want to be part of this process, because the world cannot exist only based on judgment. So here we see that there is a good reason, not just a good reason. Yes, there is an extreme importance in taking part to the stability of the creation, right? And that's why we learn Torah at night from Chatzot on. There's a lot of segulot that come with learning Torah at night. Some of it is that everything you learn at the night, you understand better, you absorb, and you retain.
You're not saying here at night. You're saying in the
from Chatzot Laila, midnight, all the way until Alot HaShachar.
Got it.
The second portion of the night.
Okay.
So the pasuk says, "Yomam yitzav Hashem hazo balayla shiro imi tefila le'el hayai," right? Ubalayla shiro imi, right? Sing with me at night, right? His song is with me, meaning David HaMelech praises HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the middle of the night. Right? When do you start in Torah? From Chatzot Laila, from midnight, from the middle of the night, the Sha'ot Zmaniot, right? So you take how many hours is night, you divide it in two. From that, from the beginning of the second portion, that's when you start learning Torah. And he gives a ta'am to it. He gives a reason to it, and this reason is brought in the Zohar Kadosh, is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, from midnight, goes down to listen to the tzaddikim, to the people that are learning Torah, right? He goes down to the world and says, okay, why should I keep this world going? Let me see. He's looking for reasons to bring chesed to the world and keep the world afloat, going. And that's what he brings from the Zohar. From the Zohar. In the Zohar, which is in Kuf Nun Vav, even Kuf Nun Vav, he says that when people wake up and learn Torah, they become partners with HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the creation of the world. Why? Because the world cannot sustain itself only with judgment. It needs chesed. It needs mercy. Right? And when you wake up and you learn Torah, you're the reason why HaKadosh Baruch Hu should bring mercy upon creation, which allows the creation to stay create, right? Then what happened? Then the angels that bring report to HaKadosh Baruch Hu at the end of the night, you have angels that go, right, in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu to announce, they say Shira, right? They say Shira. Malachim, they say Shira. That's why do you say the Mizmoret? Malachim, they say Shira in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So they go in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and they give out the names of all the people that learned during the night. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu, says the Zohar, marks on them, puts on them a sign of bracha and protection for the entire day. These are important people. Good? That's what the Zohar says. The Zohar says. That's what.
When you talk about the night, you talk about the second part of the night, right?
Always, Sadiq. From, like I said, from Chatzot Laila,
yeah, I got you,
to Amud HaShachar. it doesn't have to be the entire time. During that part of the night, waking up and saying Torah, learning Torah, saying Tikkun Chasvos, דבר חשוב. דבר חשוב מאוד. For example, the Zohar in Shir HaShirim, Daf Samech Zayin, the Zohar says that when David HaMelech was in the Midbar Yehuda, in the middle of the night, he would beg Hashem to reveal himself. Like the Pasuk says, Ki er'e shamecha ma'aseh tzbe'otecha yareach v'kochavim asher konanta. Right? That's one of the Pesukim we say when we do Birkat HaLevana. Ki er'e shamecha, I'm looking at the sky, ma'aseh tzbe'otecha, right? Action of your hands. Yareach v'kochavim asher konanta. I see the moon and the stars. The Zohar says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu samach, HaKadosh Baruch Hu rejoiced that he sees that David praises him at night, and he decided that he has to make him a king. What made HaKadosh Baruch Hu decide, one of the reasons, or at least according to this Zohar in Shir HaShirim, that David HaMelech should be the king? The fact that at night he was in the midbar, he was alone, he was in the desert, right? And in the middle of the night, he would beg for Hashem to reveal himself. Hashem says, you want me to reveal myself to you, right? I will reveal myself through making you a king. Okay? For example, also the Rambam in Hilchot Talmud Torah, in Perek Gimel, Halacha Yud Gimel, Bet Yud Gimel, he says that the Talmud Torah, Balayla, Zocheh Adam, Leketer Torah. How do you want to be Zocheh? To have the crown of the Torah, to wear the crown of the Torah, to have the kavod of the Torah, right? To carry Keter Torah, learn Torah at night. Rambam, Halacha Meforeshet, in Hilchot Talmud Torah. There's a lot. In the Bishas also, you have in Masechet Tamid Daf Lamed Bet Amud Bet, you have in Baba Bat Chav Daf Yud Amud Aleph, you have in Menachot Daf Tzadik Tet, you have in Eruvin Daf Yud Chet Amud Bet, in Menachot Daf Kuf Yud. A lot of Gemarot talk about the importance of learning Torah at night. Okay. The Midrash in Shemot Rabbah says, the Pasuk says, Hashem Tzadik Yivhan B'mir Etzon. Hashem tests the Tzadik B'mir Etzon. B'mir Etzon. So in the middle, while he's okay, let's stop here. It doesn't matter.
While he's sleeping?
No. The Shemot Rabbah is something else. It's the Soda Kavanah that HaKadosh Baruch Hu goes all the way to the Kavanah of the person. But let's stay focused for that. Let's go back. So according to the Zohar HaKadosh, and for example, the Zohar we brought in Shir HaShirim, and the Gemarot we brought, there is a big inyan of learning Torah, okay, at night. David HaMelech says, "V'chatzot laila akum lehodot lach," right? David HaMelech stands up in the middle of the night to lehodot lach, to praise him. So Ben Beno Shel Kal Vachomer, us, that we are in Galut, right? And we don't have the Bet HaMikdash, and there's Choshech, and there's Tza'ar, right? It's an obligation to appease the Galut and the influence and the impact of the Galut and of the Tza'ar HaShekhinah, to at least carry it a little bit. And to do so, he brings the Zohar in Parashat Vayekhel, okay, that when you actually say Tikkun Hatzot Laila, you are not only that you have Malachim that will come and witness to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that you were learning Torah, not only that HaKadosh Baruch Hu hears and sees that you are learning Torah, but you are now part of the angels that actually carry the tzar that mitabelim ala churban. The Zohar says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has a section of angels, and what they do every night, they cry for the Beit HaMikdash, for the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash. That's what they do. That's what they do. By doing that also, by saying Tikkun Hatzot, you are now part of that group. The Zohar says 12,000 worlds shake every time there is tears coming down for the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash. Like he says, Hashem mimarom yish'ag, sha'ag yish'ag al navehu. The Zohar says, V'kudsha berichu, let lenaicha ad de'a leginata de'eden le'shasha b'nishmateon le'tzadik. How does HaKadosh Baruch Hu get appeased? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in betza'ar that the Beit HaMikdash is destroyed, right? So in order to appease his pain, he goes and he sees the tzaddikim, the olamot, the world of tzaddikim in the Gan Eden, and he sees that there are tzaddikim that carry also his burden. So the beginning of the night, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gets, the Shekhinah gets very intense. Okay, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gets very intense until there is a scream of pain that shakes 12,000 worlds. We're not going to go into what that means, but 12,000 worlds. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is about to, from that pain, to react. What does he do? Chatzot Laila, he goes to the world of the tzaddikim. He goes to the Gan Eden. He sees their Torah. He sees their dedication. He hears the Torah of the Bnei Israel, Chatzot Laila, learning Torah. It appeases him. He says, you know what? It's worth continuing. It's worth continuing. Every night this happens. Every night this happens. So, says the Heikhal HaKodesh, Kol Ba'al Nefesh, anyone that has a bit of sensitivity towards HaKadosh Baruch Hu's pain and what's going on around him, he has an obligation. He should wake up in the middle of the night. He should learn. עם אב לציון, כמו שכתבנו למעלה, ויקרא על נהרות בבל, ויזכור השם לבני אדום, ובקשות, so he can, or he does it on his own, or at the time, and also in Israel, like this, I don't know, here maybe there is, where people get together in the Beit HaMidrash, and they say together, Tikkun Hatzot, and they cry, and they learn, and they say the Tehillim, to refer to the loss of the Beit HaMikdash. He says, "Ma la'asot." Says some people are weak. Not everybody can actually go and wake up and go to shul and sit and learn and cry. So he says, at least wake up before Alot HaShachar. You have to wake up before the dawn and get to the Beit HaKnesset. כי שכר גדול בהשכמת בית הכנסת, כי המשכים לבית הכנסת הוא בסוד צדיק יסוד עולם. Okay? להתחבר באותה שעה עם השכינה המצויה בבית הכנסת. He says when you wake up early before Amud HaShachar, right, and you're awake, and you go early, you go before the sunrise to synagogue, the Shekhinah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu's presence is there, awaiting who's coming to me, who's going to be coming, and who wants me, yeah, who's expecting to see me, and that effort that a person does, the Zohar says, gives the title to the person to be called Tzaddik Yesod Olam. Tzaddik Yesod Olam. That's what the Zohar says. And what's also important, the Heikhal HaKodesh doesn't say it, but the Ben Ish Hai brings it in his Teshuvah, in Odo Sefer Chai, that we mentioned earlier in Parashat Vayishlach. He says somebody asked him a question and told him, okay, we wake up every night and we go to shul and we say Tikkun Hatzot, and part of Tikkun Hatzot you have to read those Tehillim, right? Those portions you have to Tikkun Hel and then you have Tikkun Le'ah, right? Those two Tikkunim, and you're supposed to sit down and put a little bit of efer, you put ash on your head, and you next to the mezuzah, you sit on the floor, and you cry for the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash. So the person asked the Ben Ish Chai, okay, at one point you just stop crying, right? You don't cry anymore, and you just say it like everything else. You don't feel anything. So,
right.
So he asked him. He said, "Look, Vishlema, I can understand if we do something that is an obligation. We say tefillah, shacharit, mincha, it's an obligation, right? Don't feel you have to say. But Tikkun Hatzot is not an obligation. It's important to do it. It's very important to do. It's not an obligation, right? So maybe it's better not to do it if you don't feel anything. Or you do it right, you just don't do it, right? That's the question that, by the way, just a parenthesis, yeah? For example, it's so important just to give a perspective of the importance of Tikkun Hatzot, right? The poskim is brought to la halacha. All poskim agree that during the month of Elul, for example, where we wake up in the morning to go and say the Selihot. If you cannot do both, if you have to choose between doing Selihot or saying Tikkun Hatzot, the halacha says say Tikkun Hatzot.
If you do it all the time, not if you're going to do it for the first time.
No, you have to do it. You have to.
I'm saying if somebody doesn't do it,
that just gives you the fact that he doesn't do it is not poter him. It's just showing you that if you wake up, right? If you wake up and you have the koach to do one or the other, do Tikkun Hatzot. Okay, that just gives you, we are so sensitive and it's so important, Baruch Hashem, to us, Lechot, and we're so serious about it, yeah? But it shows you how much important Tikkun Hatzot is. Right? Not to talk even about all the Mekorot, the resources about Tikkun Hatzot and the importance of it in the Zohar, etc. Now, going back to the question that was asked, if I don't feel anything, should I say it or I not? So he said, for sure you have to say it. Why? Because the dibur, even though you don't have kavanah, is considered like an action. Like it's brought in Masechet Sanhedrin, Daf Samech He, Amud Aleph, or in Masechet Shabbat, Daf Kuf Yutet Amud Bet, right? That the dibur u'maaseh, the dibur is considered like an action, right? So the dibur is gonna get the nefesh, okay? The feeling, the call, the voice that comes out of your dibur is considered like the ruach, and the kavanah is the neshama. Okay, so you have nefesh and ruach.
2 out of 3, right. 2 out of 3.
Yeah,
very nice.
It's enough. Even if you don't feel anything, it's enough. Yeah. But then you have to say it. So this is the inyan, and the point of the Tikkun Hatzot and learning the Torah at night before dawn is in order, to be part of the reason why HaKadosh Baruch Hu should continue and keep this world going. That's regarding Tikkun Hatzot. That's regarding Tikkun Hatzot. Now he continues. At the time they used to go to sleep, they didn't have pajamas, right? So you go when you wake up, you have to put your haluk, right? Put your clothes. You put your head first, then you put your right hand, and then you put your left hand Okay? So that when you wake up, you will be covered. It's very important not to wake up, or to walk around not sanua. A lot of people, they think it's okay because they're in their bedroom to walk around in underwear or walk around not sanua. It's not proper. Why? Because you have to have yira'at ha-shekhinah. You have to have fear of the Shekhinah, of the presence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that is everywhere. Like you say, Ki melo chol haaretz kevodo, the kavod of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is everywhere. And if you look at the structure of the man is created, we said it, to the image of the Sefirot, right? Of the structure of the Sefirot. So you have to respect your body that represents the spiritual structure of the Olamot. And if you respect your body and you understand why your body looks the way it looks, then the Shekhinah is in front of you, says Heikhal HaKodesh. Then you live with the Shekhinah. Yeah? When you remember that your body is made in a way that represents the Sefirot, the structure of the Sefirot, so you are the representation of the spiritual world. But you will be careful and sensitive of the Shekhinah that you face, that is in front of you. And he says, another way, when you get dressed, make sure also to never turn around, put upside down your clothes.
Yeah, you forget things.
That's one thing. But there's worse than that. Is that now what you do is that you put the chitzon pnimi and the pnimi chitzon, right? We know we spoke about the orot, right? The orot. We cannot put the outside inside and the inside outside, right? It's different types of orot. It's different types of chinot, right? You cannot make a keli the or that's inside. The keli is the keli, and the or is the or.
Yeah.
And he says also, Keshin ol min alav. First, when you put your shoes, first you put your right tehillah, and then you win all it small. Then you put your left.
You tie the left.
Tie the
left,
and then you tie the right.
Yeah.
He says, what is the inyan? Like it's brought in Masechet Shabbat, Amar Bi Yochanan, Kitfilav kach min alav. Right? The kitfilav kach min alav. The same way you put your tefillin, you put your shoes. Vekshu al Rabbi Yochanan ve'elu sham kemar bered ravina b'mesayem dimine ve'ela katir u'mesayem desmale b'katir ve'adar katir dimine. Says that when you put, you start with the right. You start with the right, but then you have to have the kavod of the. Before you finish the right, you hit the kavod of the left. You cannot leave the left last. If you leave the left last, you make the midat adin angry. So you have to take care of the left also. But now, once you take care of the left, now you have a mitzvah to tie your shoes. So now you have to tie the left because you're already asuk, right? Busy with the left to finally go back to the right. When you put your tefillin, it's also brought in Masechet Yuma Daf Lamed Gimel Amud Bet that you have, the tefillah we put. Why do we start with the arm to put the tefillin in the arm and then the left? Because the right hand is closer to the left hand, right? So you're over the mitzvah. So when you take the tefillin, which part of your body are you mechuyav first? Are you close to, when you take your right hand is closer to your left hand? So if you take the tefillin and put it on your head, you were over on the mitzvah of the tefillin that's on your right, on your hand.
Interesting, very nice.
That's what Rabbi Yochanan holds. So that's what you have to put first on your hand and then on your head. Put aside the fact that the kedusha, the tefillin of the head are holier. That's one of the ta'am. And that's the ta'am that he brings. So here the Heikhal HaKodesh said, you have to be careful, okay, if to the bchinot, right, to the essence of the right versus the essence of the left, and you cannot leave the left alone. Once your body becomes, right, a mishkan, a merkava l'shechina, right, it becomes an emulation of the Shekhinah and of the Olamot HaElyonim. You will be very careful with what you do, because you will behave and act the same way it should be in the Olamot HaElyonim, right? You want to trigger chesed, so you're going to have to behave a certain way. You're going to act a certain way. You're going to move your right arm before your left arm. You're going to enter with your right foot before your left arm. Right? All these things, the yamin goveret, right? The importance of the yamin, of the right versus the left is what? Is because when you engage with your right, you bring shefa, you bring abundance from the midat chesed. You do it from the midat hadin, from the left, you bring midat hadin. But that's only if you respect and you look at your body as the trigger that will move the sefirot in the Olamot HaElyonim. So the Heikhal HaKodesh continues with the inyan of the shoe. He says, "Amin'al shel smol wasod hachatzi asmali me'ashchina." He says that the shoes represents the Shekhinah. The left shoe represents the left portion of the Shekhinah, of the Malchut. The right shoe represents the right portion of the Shekhinah.
Okay.
Okay. The Shekhinah is the Malchut, right? It sits right under the Yesod, in the middle, right?
Yep. So
you look at the Malchut like a ball, right? Half of the ball, okay, comes from is shayach to the right side of the sirot, which is the chesed, and the left part of part of the ball of the adnut of the Malchut, okay, yeah, is to the left, to the din. It says first you put your right foot in the right shoe, which represents the right side of the Malchut, of the Shekhinah,
which is Chesed.
That's right.
So you're going to start your day with Chesed. Is that what it is?
That's right.
And end it with Chesed. That's how you take off the left first.
To liftor et atzmo miyaden. Bidyu.
Right. And that's why they told Moshe to take off his shoes when he went to.
Different, because the shoes represent the chomriut. It represents the yes. In the sfirot, you're right. Let the Shekhinah aside. Let the dinim. Let the Malchut aside. So he says, he said, just to be clear,
Oh, Yosef alone. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, Rabbi, continue.
So he says, we want to treat, you want to start with good. So you start with the right, with the Rahamim. And then he's going to start, he wants to connect, but that maybe we do, we're going to do it when we learn the sort of tefillin. because it implies some understanding of tefillin, of the sodot tefillin. He connects the minalim, the shoes, to the tefillah shel yad, and how does the tefillin are compared to the shoes of a person. But maybe when we learn the sort of tefillin, we'll go back to it.
But if I want to do the tikkun, right? The least that I can do is what? Because it's too long, isn't it? Like 30 pages, 40 pages?
No, it's actually not at all. It's very short.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's very short.
So if I do it, I usually sleep early. Maybe I'll try to wake up early. Say quick. Yeah, before sunrise, right?
Before dawn.
Before dawn. Oh. Okay.
We start slowly. We learn. The learn is important to understand it. Then it becomes part of us, and then we feel it, and then we understand it, and then we want to do it, and then we try doing it, and then we start doing it, and then we do it better.
Right. I love it. Very nice. Okay, Rabbi. Have a beautiful day.